Remember that they are changing my voice. This video is about why mockers piss off the righteous and why they must be rebuked and why God is going to spiritually destroy them. I have 21 points here. I'll try to go through this quickly, try to do it all in one video. Hopefully I'll be able to. Okay. Point number one has to do with, well, first of all, I don't believe in magic, right? It's chemistry and psychology, etc. is what the Bible is talking about. Technology, right? Magic tricks, if you will, not, Merlin in real life or something. That doesn't exist. Okay? So the mockers propound psychology and they twist what a Babylonian magic spell is. Okay, it's also right there in the wordplay, right? A spell and spilling to make you dizzy, right? To make you confused. Okay? The gospel, the go spell. They want the real you to go, and they want you to reinvent yourself in the kind of fairy psychology of the church and the Neo-Roman state, if you will. The Neo-Babylonian state. Okay. Point number two. They remind me of people I came across when I was younger. This is part of the tactic they use to this day. They want you to go through life and to develop, right? Developmental theories in psychology. Erik Erikson, for example, they want you to develop a sort of sensitization. They want you to be sensitized to the idea of people harassing you in a certain way. They create certain triggers, is what they call it, in you. And the word trigger rhymes with the N word for a reason, because it's first and foremost aimed at black people. Now, why? Well, in ancient Egypt, the black man was the pharaoh, not the gay Greek. The Greeks came later in the foreign period, and Cleopatra thought she was important more than most women in history thought that they were important, right? And that kind of arrogance that you saw with Caesar, right? Julius Caesar and all these guys. Nero, famous for his arrogance, right? Vespasian, Trajan. That kind of arrogance is characteristic of Western, we'll say many Western philosophies, to try not to break the rules in TikTok. They're actually cracking down on me tough because they know that I'm right. And I do believe that it is globalists doing it who are trying to scapegoat the Chinese Communist Party. Now, I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist per se. These are economic theories and philosophies and systems and political systems. That's not what I'm about. My kingdom is not of this world. Okay? But I don't think it's fair to try to pit me against the Chinese Communist Party and for white supremacists, Jewish supremacists, and LGBT supremacists to ride off ride off into the sunset and act like that they were in the right the whole time or something. That's outrageous, right? That's evil. That's petty. That's immature as it gets. And that's basically their plan. So that's why they have TikTok right at this point cracking down on me more than YouTube. Okay. So, point number three. Okay, what are mockers, right? They are careless. They are shameless and gutless. They do not care to see who I am, right? The word care is a play on words for see and are, right? See who someone is. If you care about yourself and your family and other people, you're going to be who you actually are, and you're going to insist that they are who they are, and they are the most moral version of themselves. So they try their hardest to be moral and to be honest about who they are and how and what they're doing and what their faults are, etc. So what they're doing, shows that they're careless, they're shameless, they're gutless, right? And they do not care to see who I am, and following orders is no excuse. Okay, it's not an excuse for them to say that, oh, they're just following orders from the psychotic people in corporations. When these corporations, again, 1 in 5 CEOs are said to be psychopaths. That's 1 in 5 CEOs. That's 20%. Now, how many of them are sociopaths and narcissists and just fanatically greedy, like the Wolf of Wall Street in popular culture? And in a Judeo-Christian society, they even say, beware of wolves in sheep's clothes, but their excuse for not doing what is right is that they're just following the Wolf of Wall Street, Donald Trump, and all these other politicians. That's no excuse. Conforming to evil is no excuse for not being moral. And people just don't understand that these days. Okay. So in Rome, people were persecuted if they did not worship the cults of the governing class family lines, aka the pagan cults. And this is going on to this day. And it's part of what pisses someone off about a mocker. While you're trying to correct this profound injustice, they're mocking you and provoking you. And they're using military-grade psychology to get a rise out of you. My next point is simple, that they are channeling demons. Demons are, have to do with mass rape, mass murder, child molestation, exploitation, the unfair use of potent psychotropic medications, the covert drugging, the clandestine activities of the state. So they are channeling the ideas that allow them to do this. And so it is with the pharmaceutical companies, right? Pharmakeia means sorcery, okay? So when you're a man of the utmost moral integrity, which is what every man's supposed to be, no government has the right to tell you that you can't be moral. They don't have the right to provoke you and say, hey, you know what? Because you're trying to be moral and that makes you agitated, that we're going to provoke you and then say that you have a harmful state of mind. That is pure evil. That is diabolical as it gets. That is insidious as it gets. That is immature, and only indecorous knaves would dream of doing something so pathetically evil. Unbelievable. That is the opposite of freedom. That is the opposite of living in a free and open society. That is what characterizes communism, and the Republicans also take part in it. The Republicans are basically saying that if you're not a white supremacist, they don't want you to say anything. And the Democrats are basically saying that if you're not a fanatic LGBT person, that they don't want you to say anything. And that's why the right wing doesn't start their own social media sites and they just complain about the left wing. That's the program that they're using. If you think about the formula, you'll see that it adds up to a T and that there's no way that that's a coincidence. That's what you call an overwhelming amount of evidence. And it is people who refuse to accept the truth that is revealed by an overwhelming amount of evidence that are delusional, not the people that accept the truth. So we see, as my point number 5, is mockers want to inspire midlife crises. They mock the righteous for doing the right thing. Like when Jesus was on the cross, right? He had a crown of thorns and they gave him a cape and they fed him vinegar and so on and so forth, and they mocked him because they wanted him to feel bad about doing the right thing, and they wanted everyone else to look at the situation and to decide that they didn't want to carry their cross as well. And that's what is meant by carrying your cross. It's accepting, standing firm for what is right. Matthew 10:22. You'll be hated by everyone because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. Paul's letters. All who wish to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. Matthew 5:10. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Not anyone else. Not these people who are persecuting me. Not their offspring that they're raising them to follow in their footsteps. Not people who aren't persecuted. The kingdom of heaven belongs to me and not to them, because I am persecuted for righteousness' sake. They are not. There is no place on this planet where you won't be persecuted if you do the right thing, because it clashes with their government and corporate agendas. And that behooves them, from their sick, twisted point of view, to then persecute you for doing the right thing. Pretty straightforward. And they'd mock me and compare me to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and say, oh, no. Those guys aren't as great as I am. I'm the top martial artist. They're people who merely talked and got a lot of people to follow them in a society where evil people are the only ones able to get a lot of people to follow them. But I'm the top martial artist ever, and I'm being persecuted for righteousness' sake, and nobody's following me because I'm doing what is precisely right. Which, using a universal scale, makes me above everyone else. The one who is from above is above all. It's even called above. Being better than someone, more good. I'm more moral. I'm more morally intense. So we are not all born equal. It was my destiny to be greater. And we are not all equal because I am moral and they are immoral. And if you don't agree with that, then why are you locking people up in your prisons? Because your stated argument is that they did something immoral and they need to do the time for it, and you're going to deny them a chance to get married and to live a normal life because they did something wrong. Now that I've proven to you definitively that I insist on doing what is right, how can you then turn around and not know that you people deserve to be locked up for doing what is wrong and for persecuting me? Regardless, especially if you're in the government, my goodness, that abuse of authority is particularly repugnant to someone of high moral worth.